In Northern California, there is a reasonable semblance of intercity rail travel in the form of the Capital Corridor service between Sacramento and Emeryville near Oakland, with most trains continuing on to San Jose. There are 11 trains per day in each direction, with each one of these connecting to a bus service from Emeryville to San Francisco. One of these 11 trains starts in Auburn, about 35 miles northeast of Sacramento, which is the train that we're going to take this morning. Come with us and let's see what's on offer. Right next to the Auburn station is a nice imposing building with a sign stating Nevada Station. However, it has nothing to do with the train service. It's just an office building. It sure can be misleading if you're not familiar with the actual train departure platform. The actual train station in Auburn is nothing more than a short platform that can accommodate 2, maybe 3 cars with a rain shelter and some benches. Train 729, service to San Jose, is powered by a Caltrain FP59 diesel locomotive. These, or derivatives, have been staple power for passenger trains in the United States for quite some time, although their prime years have passed in favor of newer machines. This one received a new lease on life in 2013 with a refurbishment. I'll give you a brief outline of the passenger equipment on this train a bit later on, but for now, after this short introduction, let's board our train and begin the journey. Before we depart Auburn and the train gets busy at intermediate stations, let's take a look at the California car's interiors. The coaches do look unique, although with the closable luggage storage above the seats and large number of front to back seating, the interior does have the resemblance of an airplane cabin. It's just a resemblance though, as the personal space and comfort on these cars far exceeds what's common on a plane. The color scheme and general appearance of the interior of these coaches have held up well over the years, as without refurbishment they're comfortable and enjoyable to ride in. The accessible space is available on the bottom level, including this large accessible restroom. The remaining seats here are reserved for passengers with reduced mobility, so they don't have to climb up to the second level, as there is no lift. The very large bicycle storage area is replaced with more seating and a standard restroom in another version of this car. Let's head back upstairs and take a look at the café. There is a cafe in each Capital Corridor train. The menu on offer includes hot and cold drinks, wine and beer, snacks, as well as small meals.
Hi.
Our departure from Auburn is right on time at 7:55 in the morning. On weekdays, this train departs earlier at 6:35 to cater to the commuter passengers on their way to work in Sacramento. Most of the seats are arranged in a 2+2 configuration and are face to back. The seats are fairly wide, are separated with armrests, and offer a lot of legroom. They do not recline, but still provide a lot of space. There is a footrest and a large, sturdy, foldable table. Public announcement speakers and reading lamps are above each seat group. There is a 120-volt outlet, one for 2 seats. There are no blinds, but rather these curtains, which still work very well to provide respite from the early morning sun. Each seatback has netted space for belongings and this handy safety information pamphlet. We're arriving at the first intermediate stop of the day, Rocklin. Like at a number of stations on this route, the platforms are short here as well, with boarding and alighting via 1 or 2 cars only. Here's a typical table seating area. The legroom is generous, with the table massive. You'll have no problem spreading out, especially if not all 4 seats are occupied. There is a 120-volt power outlet by the window, one for 2 seats. The seats themselves are well padded and comfortable for a longer journey, with folding armrests on both sides. There are 3 options for storing belongings and luggage. First, there are large airline-style overhead bins down both sides of the car on each level. Second, there is space between seatbacks in the table seating areas. And finally, there are these smallish luggage stacks near the 2 stairwells towards each end of the upper deck. Here's another look at the spacious wheelchair area. The wheelchair ramp is stowed next to an entry door on each side of the car, and right next you'll find the accessible restroom. To lock the door, slide the little red knobbed lever to the right and double check that the door is locked. The faucet is mechanically activated with a push button, which makes hand washing a bit awkward but doable. The hand dryer is more modern and worked well. The retention toilet is not a vacuum system but rather gravity cleaned. Next, you'll find a changing table rounding out a restroom that's been well kept in working order and clean. In addition to the Capital Corridor services, Amtrak in California offers the San Joaquin trains between Emeryville and Bakersfield. These are longer distance services, and together with a bus connection between Bakersfield and Los Angeles, offer 5 daily round trips between San Francisco Bay Area and LA.
Alright folks, this is Roseville Station.
We're approaching Sacramento, the main intermediate stop for our train and the terminus for all other Capital Corridor services. The station is well located in downtown Sacramento and close to the Sacramento Old Town.
Hi folks, this is Sacramento Valley Station.
After the last passengers are hurried on board, we depart Sacramento on time at 8:55. Our train features unique, one-off passenger cars. It is a four-car consist of double-deck California cars. These were designed and built for the original start of Capital Corridor services back in the mid-1990s by Morrison Knudsen and the American passenger railcar company, Emeryville. They're similar in outward appearance to the double-deck Amtrak Superliner coaches, but have been designed for shorter distance travel. There are three varieties of the California cars: seating coaches, seating and baggage cars, and restaurant cars. All seating coaches are very similar, with some differing in the number and style of bicycle storage areas. The restaurant areas are self-service cafe style, but with a lot of tables and seating. We picked up passengers at every station since departure, with most boarding at Davis, a university town just west of Sacramento. The train filled up quite nicely, which was a very pleasant surprise on this Saturday morning. Let's head back to the restaurant car, which is a bit of a mixed bag. It's great that these cars are available on each of the Capital Corridor trains and the prices are not too exorbitant. However, the quality of the food leaves a lot to be desired. The food is not prepared on board but simply reheated, unlike on long-distance Amtrak trains or intercity trains in Central and Eastern Europe, for example. But even reheated selections could be done better than on these trains. Germany is a case in point, where the meals offered on intercity express trains are still reheated but are considerably better tasting and hugely better presented. Still, the Capital Corridor trains have the restaurant cars, and that's something to be thankful for. The start station of Auburn is located west of the spectacular Sierra Nevada mountains. While we travel by some nicer areas, most of the scenery is residential and industrial, such as this refinery facility in Benicia on the north side of Suisun Bay. The road bridge that you see is the original Benicia-Martinez Bridge. It now carries the southbound traffic only, with a new northbound bridge just to the east of the railway bridge that we're on. We're about to enter a section of the line that's right next to the Carquenes Strait, making for some pleasant views across the water. Right after the C&H Sugar Facility, we ride under the Alfred Zampa Memorial Bridge, previously known as the Carquenes Bridge. Here too, a new westbound span is in stark contrast to the original bridge.
Richmond BART. In order to get to BART, head down into the tunnel and go over to the BART station. This is Amtrak 729 to San Jose, now boarding.
Richmond is an interchange station with BART, the Bay Area Rapid Transit System. Changing to one of the BART trains that travel under the San Francisco Bay on their way to the city is one option to get to San Francisco after traveling on the Capital Corridor. The other option is an Amtrak bus, which is what we selected on this trip. Cost-wise, it's less to take the bus connection if the ticket is purchased together with the train.
No, I said I see. Actually, I might. But I said I see what I mean by the
Once again, it's our San Jose train now going on track number 2. If you're headed to San Francisco, please proceed to the parking structure next door.
The bus is a short walk to the car park ground level as our Capital Corridor train departs for San Jose.
So people are coming back and need that seat that you're sitting in.
Push it out. Also, there's a fire extinguisher.
After a brief safety talk by the driver, we depart for San Francisco with a few minutes delay.
I didn't know he was going to open the door, and then I opened it because I thought it was done.
The Canadian-built Prévost bus features a typical long-distance commuter or intercity layout. 2+2 seating is fairly comfortable with adequate legroom. There are seat belts at every seat and foldable armrests are provided. There is a double power socket at each group of 2 seats as well as roll-up window blinds. There is one restroom at the rear of the bus. It was clean and fully working but did not include a sink.
I don't know what that is. I didn't make your seat.
As we approach San Francisco, the incredible city skyline views start to dominate. Now is a good time to summarize this trip. The seamless 2-mode train and bus connection gets you from Auburn to downtown San Francisco in 3 hours and 10 minutes. It's quite a long trip for the 125 or so miles, averaging only about 40 miles per hour. However, the Capital Corridor train was very pleasant and comfortable, and the bus not too bad for the short hop across San Francisco Bay.
Is it near where we stayed? No, it's on the.
And how much did this cost us? We traveled on a 2-for-1 special offered on all connections without limitations, with the cost for 2 being $41. That's $20.50 per person, or about 16 cents per mile. It's a great deal, and yes, I would highly recommend this way to travel from Auburn, Sacramento, and other stations on the route to San Francisco and San Jose. Even though this 50% off price deal ended at the end of January, there will no doubt be other offers in the future. Thank you so much for watching and coming on this journey with us.